Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports as we kick off another week. I believe it's week number 6 of the Eagles offseason, and we got some stuff happening this week in Eagle Land, an exciting time as we get ready for the draft and some of the upcoming free agency stuff where the team will be, I don't want to say revamped, but retooled. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Monday morning, brother, as we get into the week?
It's Monday. It's still dreary and crappy out and raining and snowing. I'd like to see a little bit of sun if we can get that at some point. It'd be nice, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
Yep, no doubt. A little bit warmer though, Johnny Mac. A little bit warmer around these parts. Snow is still holding on. Stubborn bunch of snow.
Oh man, and it is ugly. It is ugly snow at this point. Just it's just dirty. It's hideous. Everything really about it is hideous.
It really is. It will not go away on us, John. But John, we get into another new week here, and there is some things happening in the NFL calendar. They always do a good job at keeping that calendar perfectly built. So the Super Bowl is now, well over a week in our rearview mirror, and the offseason is, going to be in full swing here. So franchise tag window opens this week. The Eagles finalized or made another hire I think it was on Friday. It was after our show, so we didn't have a chance to talk about it. And some other things that we will get to today as well. But John, give us kind of the rundown of the week and what this week looks like in Eagle Land and also in NFL land as a whole.
Yeah, I think, the most notable thing to me, there's one offensive coordinator open left, and that's the LA Rams, who are probably going to promote Shieldhouse, but we'll see how they do. But when it's all said and done, when the Rams make their decision, 21 new offensive coordinators around the NFL, 21 of 32 teams, obviously, 21. So for the point that I think I said yesterday on social media, I think it's time to shelve the continuity bullshit. It doesn't exist at that level in the NFL. It just doesn't. So it can't be used as an excuse. As I said, and generally the ones that do have continuity are obviously the head coaches who call plays, which comes with its own run. For all we talk about Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur, and the Eagles are trying to copy their concepts and all that stuff, I got to tell you, Zander, they are bad game managers. So, that's one of the reasons you don't see a bunch of championships, but you see everybody copying them because they're copying the offensive scheme, the offensive concepts, yes, but they have to manage the game as the head coach as well. And a lot of times, and specifically you've seen it with McVay and Shanahan because they've advanced a little bit further than LaFleur, who's been a one-and-done guy, crops up at some point, and that's part of being a head coach as well. So it's a give and take, but if you do want continuity, you have to get a head coach who calls plays and isn't going to give it up. And I don't know if you want that. So it's a difficult decision to make, but right. For the rest of the people, 21 out of 32 is definitive proof. Stop talking about continuity, man.
John, any idea if that's a record? I mean, I know there is a lot of turnover each year, but that seems
that's got to be right. I don't know it for a fact, but that's got to be a record.
I mean, that's a big number, man.
It is. It was a big number. Remember, it was a big number of head coaches. So when you have that many head coaches, which was 10, which was big enough, but then you turn that and it's even doubled. And you think about it, the Eagles interviewed wanted to interview a bunch of the guys that got jobs. Brian Daboll in Tennessee, Mike McDaniel with the Chargers, Bobby Slowick they interviewed, who's in Miami now, Zach Robinson, who's with Tampa Bay, Declan Doyle, a lot of talk about him with Baltimore. And on and on and on. Obviously, Matt Nagy, who they interviewed with the New York Giants, they never interviewed Frank Reich, our old friend. He's with the Jets. Press Taylor, another guy with the Bears, old friend. familiar names all over the place. And obviously the Eagles hired Sean Mannion. 20 different guys. The Seahawks went outside the organization to get Brian Fleury because they lost their offensive coordinator to the Raiders. And he took Andrew Janoko, who would be the next in line. He's going to be the offensive coordinator with the Raiders. So they had to go outside the organization. Musical chairs, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Musical chairs. So yeah, it's time to put that to bed. Time to put it to bed. Not to mention the Eagles have succeeded with a first year because they have to. They've had a first year guy every year practically, exception being Shane, who's a year plus. And you know,
So I agree with you. You got to shelf it, but it is more part of like this new, I guess, new NFL. How long has this been, this prominent with this much change? Because while I do agree with you, John, that you kind of have to shelf it. I mean, this is just life in the NFL. I do wonder the impact, John, it has from a bigger picture on player development, on offensive development, on quarterback development. And some of these things. Now, you've been around this game a lot longer than I have, and you know a lot more about it than I do, especially the history of it. How much do you think it's impacting that when it comes to player development and quarterback development and things like that?
Yeah, I think quite a bit. I mean, I talk about that all the time, but I think the bigger part of it is the lack of ability to work with the quarterbacks. So I don't think it changes that much if you have continuity, because you still can't work with the guys. In the old days, you could work with the guys.
Yeah, right.
Now you can't. So it doesn't really, it's probably a little bit better. You get comfortable with each other, you get to know each other better, but even that, it can go both ways, because do you stop listening to the voice in your ear? Do you hear the same messaging too much from the same person? So, but I think the far bigger problem isn't the upheaval at the coaching, which is normal, although it's elevated recently, like the rest of society, mirror of it. Everything's impatient, everything's quick. Everything's you better do it now. So there's a little bit less willing to be patient. But ultimately, I think even if you are patient, you aren't allowed to work with the quarterbacks anyway in the offseason, very strictly collectively bargained. So, I remember talking about that with John DeFilippo, because he sort of bridged the old era with the new era. And he's like, yeah, it's a lot different. He was basically saying, look, whenever you lost, whether you won the Super Bowl, you lost in the first round here, you're working with the quarterback the next day. A lot of times, getting ready for the next season. Now, you have exit meetings, and he's probably being facetious, but the point is, the next week, you got him right back in the lab. And again, that's what the NFLPA has fought for: quality of life issues. They've won those battles because the NFL has been willing to give them up, because all they want is the almighty dollar, and they want more money and more money and more money, that's where we are. And that's why the product isn't as good as it once was. And luckily, you have a younger group of fans who don't know the product was better. And and the secret is the games are exciting at the end. That's the secret. So you think about Scott Hansen calls it the witching hour on whatever Red Zone, where you have these, you sit there and you watch 55 minutes of terrible football, and then you have an exciting ending, whether it's somebody coming back or somebody making a big play, and you go, wow, that's pretty cool. I watch that. I call it the Sugar Ray Leonard effect. Sugar Ray Leonard figured out as he got older, one of the great boxers of all time, when he got older and he didn't have the same physical gifts, he figured out, if I just play defense for 2.5 minutes and then do a flurry in the last 30 seconds, he'll win the round, because people remember what they see last. It's like a psychological experiment. And that's where the NFL is. But yeah, development is hurt, but I don't know if the reason is continuity. I don't think that's the reason at all. In fact, I think it's They just don't have the same amount of time to work with these particular players.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Johnny Mac, the stuff this week in the NFL land, franchise tag window opens tomorrow, right? That's tomorrow. The franchise tag window.
Yeah, I mean that is so irrelevant when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, right.
They
We don't
they
even
boy,
think about it much.
yeah, I don't even think about it much. But it is. I mean, it is always a tool in your back pocket.
Well, I
That
do like to
can,
look at some of the players around the league too. You know, if someone's going to stick around, you know, or hit the market potentially. Like I think Dallas is an interesting one there with Pickens and stuff.
yeah, Dallas is a bad organization, so they tend to use it, and the rumors are already there. They're going to use it on Pickens. So
Right.
the Eagles haven't used it since I believe Deshaun Jackson in. I have to look it up, but it's 2012, 2013, somewhere in that range. That's the last time they've used
Yeah,
it.
I think you're right. I think that's the last time, which is a long time ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, they just don't use it. They don't believe in it. It really doesn't, I love Mike Tomlin's quote. We want volunteers. We don't want hostages. It's never a good situation. Nobody's happy when the franchise tag is put on them. So you don't want unhappy people in your organization. That's how the Eagles operate. That's maybe why AJ Brown's not going to be here. Not because they want to trade him or they can trade him or they get value for him or, from a cap standpoint, it makes any sense whatsoever. But if he truly doesn't want to be here, they don't want people who don't want to be here. And that's why they don't spend a lot of time mulling over the franchise tag. And certainly this is a year where they don't really have a player that would be franchise tag worthy anyway. Jalen Phillips would be the closest, but
Yeah, that's the only name I would think.
But when you think about what edge rushers get paid and what that means for the franchise, it makes no sense to go in that direction. So Dallas Goedert at 31 makes very little sense, especially when they made him take a $4 million pay cut. So I don't think it's going to break the streak of Deshaun Jackson back whenever it was. So say 2013, 2012. I just popped it up. 2012.
There you go. Last time the Eagles. That's officially the last time the Eagles have franchise tag. Boy, that's a long time ago. 14 years.
Yeah. And that's about right when Howie came in. He just doesn't value it that much. But again, you never say never, but this is not the year they would use it. I mean, if it comes to a player you can't lose or this or that, you might use it as a placeholder, as you continue to work to get a longer term extension done. So, they'll probably use it again somewhere down the road, but it's not going to be this year.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, they made another hiring on Friday. I believe it was right after our show. And I kind of like the hiring, but we will talk about it a little bit here before we get to Jeff Kerr this morning. Pellegrino, John. Eagles hired Mike Pellegrino from the Bills as their listed as DB coach. John, kind of walk us through this because Christian Parker left. That was the first domino in terms of the defensive backs. He went to Dallas to be their defensive coordinator. I thought the Eagles had elevated somebody to his position. Now, tell me where Mike Pellegrino, the Bills coach, who just got hired by the Eagles, Bills DB coach, just got hired by the Eagles. Where does he fit in? And then what do you think of the hire for the Eagles filling out that back into that defensive staff?
Yeah, they did promote Joe Casper,
right? That's what I thought. Yeah,
to Christian Parker's job. So, the Pellegrino hiring is not officially official. They are going to hire him, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. So basically, last year how they set it up was Christian Parker obviously was the entire secondary coach and the defensive pass game coordinator. The nonsense title, that's what I like to call it. But those titles are what they are. You just promote the people, and they're relatively new, and I've explained that in the past. But and then I had a safeties coach who was Joe Casper and a cornerbacks coach who's Roy Anderson. So That's how the setup was last year. You don't have to say that, but the evidence is they're going to keep that. So my guess is Pellegrino is going to be the safeties coach when it's clarified, and Roy Anderson will stay at corner. Now his history in Buffalo is with Nichols. He was the Nichols coach last year. The Eagles haven't had a nickel slot specific coach since Ronnell Williams in the year before Vic got here, so 2023 is the last time they had a Nichols coach. So my guess is Vic doesn't like that. Now, in his scheme, nickel and safety are somewhat mirrored positions. So that's why my guess is he'll be the safeties coach to replace Joe Casper, moved up to replace Christian Parker. That's the way I think it's going to shake out, because that's why Vic has handled the coaching staff both of his years here, and I think he'll replicate it.
How big of a loss, John, or how much different do you think that room is going to be now because of that loss? I mean, Christian Parker's obviously a guy. We talked about it when he left, but what do you think of the new hirings filled in, and how much of an impact do you think that has on the defense upcoming? They obviously still have Vic Fangio, who, we all think makes it all happen.
Yeah, as long as you got Vic, you're fine.
Yeah,
I believe that. So, yeah, I mean, there's much more consternation there, and there should be on the offensive side. You're going to lose some coaches. Surprised they didn't lose a few more coaches, to be honest. But that's just, again, we just talked about with the offensive coordinators. That's the nature of the NFL. It's just part of it. You're certainly going to lose guys each and every year, especially when you're successful. And when you're not successful, and I'm talking about long term, obviously the Eagles don't consider them. They act like a 5-win team, basically. They don't consider themselves successful. But they did, they did lose guys because they have been a good organization for a long period of time. And that's going to happen, and that's part of it. And it's even worse when you fire the head coach, because then you generally blow out the whole staff or close to it. So depends how you look at it.
Yeah, interesting stuff there. We'll see what ends up happening, John. And then the next piece of business that's coming quick, man. Combine is a week away. The NFL Combine. That's when you're really going to get into draft season. And now we're already reaching that point. Obviously, we're going to talk about it a little bit this week, a bunch, and get ready for it. But Combine's a week away, Johnny Mac. Everything is getting closer when it comes to the off-season moves that the Eagles will make, and everybody will eventually see what version of the 2026 Eagles we will get, my friend.
When you talk about personnel, and that's the biggest part of this league, obviously free agency, March 11th, the Combine is where you sort of talk and try to get the framework of deals. So they'll be trying to work out things with Jalen Phillips. Surely, people talk about big trades. If there's a trade, a lot of Max Crosby people out there. Obviously, if you're going to trade for Max Crosby, you're not going to sign Jalen Phillips. So there's a lot of hype about that. A.J. Brown, number 1 on the list. What's going to happen? There's certainly going to be talks of that nonsense that, they're not talking about it. It's because you don't talk about anybody on Super Bowl week. So you're going to get further clarification on that. All that kind of stuff is it really going to rope up. And silly season, as I like to call it, is the Eagles are usually the headliner because they have a GM who's willing to do things and willing to do bold moves. So I've been saying that. I've been writing for this years. Every single rumor you will hear will include and the Eagles.
Well, it's fun. It's almost like an unintended, I don't know if you want to call it a benefit or a consequence of Howie Roseman's moves, John, that they are the lead headline. I think it's a benefit if you're Jeffrey Lurie because your team is plastered on every story that's written about the NFL in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And you could feel comfortable saying, because the Eagles check in on everybody. So, a lot of these that just feel comfortable saying, well, Howie's going to call because he always calls, even if it's just to keep a beat on what the league is doing. He wants to know the value of everybody so he can figure out the value best of what he wants. So he checks in on everybody. The level of interest varies greatly. But that's what I said at like Hard Knocks. I say that all the time. If you heard some of the behind the scenes conversations as a fan, you'd probably be upset because everybody gets talked about. Everybody. Even Zander Krause. Everybody gets talked about. That's not a story, but it will be made into 1,000,001 stories over the next few weeks.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Johnny Mac. John, it will be made into those stories. We'll be following it all along for you guys here on Birds 365. We'll give you guys the rundown as we go through some of this stuff with the combines coming up. That's when it's going to really get interesting. I'm starting to hear a lot, John, about that tight end in the draft, Kenyon Sadiq for the Philadelphia Eagles.
He's a big time player.
I watched him a bunch in college, but I wasn't sure how realistic him coming to Philly was, or at least being there at 23. But I do think there's a chance he could be there, and I think there's a chance the Eagles could take him, man.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to go up if you want him. I don't think he's going to make it to 23 because really it's supposed to be, from everything I've seen and talked with people about, it's supposed to be a pretty deep tight end draft, but there's really only one guy who belongs in the first round, and he's that guy. And generally, especially when you've seen the success of recent seasons of guys like most notably Brock Bowers, but even last year with Loveland and Ty Warren, and you see the impact of the entire league going to, more of the Shanahan, McVay style offense where you need at least one pretty dynamic tight end. I think it's become more important to people.
Yeah.
And when you only got one guy up in that level, somebody's going to leap before 23. And probably from a talent perspective, he should be above 23 anyway. So I think he's kind of a player that they would definitely want. They got to, in a lot of ways, they have to remake their entire tight end room, probably. And that would get you off on a roaring start. So I do believe they'd be interested, but he's a guy I think you're going to have to go up and get. But there's a bunch of guys on day 2 and day 3. Eli Stowers from Vandy, Max Clare from Ohio State, Jack Endries from Texas, Michael Trigg from Baylor, Justin Jolly from North Carolina State. So a bunch of guys who could go day 2 or 3. And if they're not bringing Dallas Goedert back, they need to find somebody who can play right away and give you production right away. And that would certainly be Sadiq, but that's going to be a tough get, in my opinion, at 23.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what ends up happening there. Maybe they have too many needs, too, to go tight end, John, on day 1. What do you think of that? I mean, they always try. Obviously, you want to pick premier positions in round 1. They picked, corners recently, a lot of defensive line normally, a lot of offensive line, in their history. Do you think tight end is something they would go a first round pick with?
Well, I think we talked about how many stories they're talking about. How many stories were written over the years about Jerry Robinson being the last all-ball linebacker for the Eagles to take in the draft, and then they took Jahad Campbell. And even then, we're all saying, well, the way how he talked is probably more of an edge.
Yeah.
Well, he turned out to be an all-ball linebacker. So, they haven't done it in a while, but they, Keith Jackson, I think, is the last one. Jeff's coming on, so he'll be able to confirm that or not. I believe Keith Jackson is the last first-round pick they've used on a tight end, but Dallas Goedert obviously was a second-rounder and pretty impactful. So I think Howie's good at just understanding the value, understanding you don't draft for need, especially in the first round. Now, that need, again, one of the 1,000,001 cliches in the NFL. Need is the worst talent evaluator in sports, which I agree with. But everybody drafts for need in a certain point. In other words, you have a group of guys, you cluster picks and you're certain spots, you have a group of guys you want, but obviously if you're have a all pro quarterback, you're not taking a quarterback.
Yeah,
So
right.
even if the quarterback is the first on the list,
It's got to
you're
be
not taking
somewhat
him.
planted. Yeah, it can't be complete best player.
So there's some context to it. But I do think when it comes to the first round, you got to be the type of player that belongs there, and I think Sadiq is. So I think he changes it a little bit.
There you go. Good stuff. We'll see what ends up happening with the combine in a week, folks. The franchise tag window opens tomorrow. We'll see. I don't think the Eagles will be using that, as they haven't. John pointed that out, since 2012. So a long time ago since they've used that. But a lot of good things happening. And then obviously the hiring of Mike Pellegrino to keep adding to that Eagles defensive coaching staff. That's the latest news here on this Monday morning as we get deeper into the Eagles off-season weeks. And it'll get more exciting here with the draft coming up, the combines coming up, and all the different things. Free agency coming up. We'll talk about all those different things. And our show this morning will get a little more interesting with Jeff Kerr. Jeff Kerr is set to join us right now. He's in the green room. Let's bring him in here. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr, PHL. Jeff, welcome to the program this Monday morning, my friend. How are you doing for another week of Birds 365 on the horizon?
Pretty good, Zander. By the way, John, you are correct. Last tight end the Eagles did draft in the first round was Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson, that's 2 for 2. I got last franchise tag too.
Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah. 2 for 2 right off the bat. Zander didn't give me a heads up. So I'm off to a good start. I'm not going to bat 1,000 though, so I think I'm going to get something wrong as we move forward, probably pretty quickly. We do have the Disney tree. I'm going to say that every week. It's still up. I love it.
Yeah, the Disney tree's going to stay up for a while.
When Jody was hosting, used to be Mike Gillen's T-shirts. Now it's going to be your Disney tree.
Yeah. Over under April 15th.
I'm going to go full year. Why not keep it up?
Yeah, I might just keep it up. It up.
Jeff's got a new companion in the Disney tree he'll be keeping up.
Hey, and Mick Foley, the famous wrestler, is now retired. He loves Christmas so much that he keeps his Christmas stuff all year round.
The one display in the back is actually like a Disney Village, so that stays up all year. So the tree might as well just stay up. There's a railroad below it you guys can't see.
Nice. There we go. All right. Now we started the show with when the Rams hire their offensive coordinator. That will make 21 new offensive coordinators in the NFL, Jeff. 21. That's 65% of the league. Can we just stop talking about continuity and offensive? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist unless you have a head coach who calls plays and the guys like McVay and Shanahan. But guess what, Jeff? They're all shitty game managers. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. So what do you want? As a fan, what do you want? I love the concepts, but you're blowing games because you're delved into your concepts, or do you want the constant turnaround and maybe the ability to win in a different fashion? I've been for years, I've been a CEO coach guy. And I love the John Harbaughs, the Mike Tomlins, those are Dan Campbell. Took over play calling, shouldn't have. He'll go back to being a CEO coach. Nick Sirianni here. On and on and on. That's always what I've always been. And it came from talking to Tom Coughlin years ago. And I asked him the question. He was the best one. Tom Coughlin told me. Because it's so backward to me. So I asked him, I go, why do guys feel they come in, they have to call plays, offense, defense, versus be a CEO coach? Because I was asking him, he started as a defensive guy who became a CEO coach. And he said, you have to prove yourself in the building first. And then you can become the leader that you want to become. But boy, that seems backward to me, Jeff. Where are you on the CEO coach versus he's got to call the plays?
I mean, to me, it all comes down to can you win games or not? And it seems a lot of the CEO coaches know how to win. You mentioned John Harbaugh. I don't ever remember John Harbaugh ever calling plays either way because he was a special teams guy. That's
nope,
why
never did. Yeah, never did.
Yeah, and remember that was at the time it was considered okay. We understand the Andy Reid coaches are going left and right, but his special teams coach, like what do the Ravens see that we're not seeing? Well, I guess they found out right away when he's taking the rookie quarterback to the AFC Championship game. So, look, I don't mind the CEO coach thing either, and I always hate how they have this debate now if Nick Sirianni is a good coach or not. What are we doing here? He wins 69% of his games. That's last time I checked. That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy from the standpoint of, and again, the Rams are the only open job, so that's probably going to go to Shieldhouse. But if you look at every 21 teams change, some out of necessity, guys get hired, guys get promoted, some fire because they perform poorly. But it is that NFL mentality. If you think about these guys, Brian Daboll, he was the head coach with the Giants. He was the in Buffalo, Mike McDaniel, head coach with the Dolphins. Eric Bieniemy, longtime offensive coordinator going back to the Chiefs, was with the Bears, never got the head coaching chance. Got even lesser known guys. Drew Pensing is now with the Lions. He was the Cardinals offensive coordinator. Bobby Slowick interviewed here. He was the offensive coordinator in Houston. Now he's the Dolphins offensive coordinator. The two, Tommy Rees followed Kevin Stefanski down to Atlanta. Zach Robinson moves from Atlanta to Tampa Bay. It's freaking hilarious. But the two young guys, maybe three, you count Declan Doyle, but he was, he was, Ben Johnson was grooming him, but obviously he's not going to call plays there, and he goes to Baltimore. He'll get the call plays. But the two young guys are both in the NFC East. Both like, what? David, and they both went in the same situation. David Blau, backup quarterback, nobody, and they say, wow, this guy's really sharp. Let's keep him. Let's make him the offensive coordinator. And Sean Mannion, longtime third-string quarterback. This guy's really sharp. Let's make him the offensive coordinator.
Do you remember when David Blau started that Thanksgiving game a couple years ago when they were raving about like how quickly he picked up everything?
Yeah, well, yeah. I remember people raving about him, but yeah, he wasn't a very good quarterback. It's interesting. It's like backup catcher in baseball as we ram up. You never see the backup catcher is always the manager down the road. You never see the star become the manager. You do, but it generally doesn't work. Same thing in the NFL. Now it's like, it's not the star quarterbacks. It's more the backup quarterbacks who just hang around and hang around and hang around because they're so smart. And I think Washington and the Eagles are going to be really interesting just from the fact that these guys are basically straight off the field, running offenses in the NFL. What does that tell you?
That they want the most modern design they can. I mean, that's where I'm going with. I mean,
what it tells me, Jeff? Modern designs are pretty freaking simple.
Well, they are.
What it tells me.
Well, don't you think that's why defense is starting to kind of take over again?
Yes. I'm surprised. I never thought we'd see the day this would be.
All the changes they've made for the offenses and the defense are still the ones prevailing.
Yeah.
I think, and it's like what you pointed out too, John, like Vic Fangio's defense, how much has it really changed over the past? I mean, it's evolved, but the basic principle, how much has it changed since when he was with Carolina? That was 30 years ago.
Yeah. It's funny. I asked Vic that question and Vic was like, he didn't want to get too deep into it, but he did admit, and I remember him saying, not that much. I asked him how much has it changed since people started copying him, and he said not that much. He admitted that. which I was a little surprised by. But I think it shifts depending on personnel. So that's what I think. And you saw that with Sean McVay and on the offensive side this year. Good coaches shift depending on their personnel. And I think people think their scheme shift. No, they're just trying to take advantage of their better players inside their schemes, which I think is the trick. But that's my perspective on it. But I never thought we'd see the day. And I heard an interesting, I think it was Nate Tyson mentioned it. I mentioned it last week on the show. Protection is the problem. And I kind of agree with him. Like for all the offensive problems, it's basically modern defenses get the 3rd and long and just, create chaos that people can't pick up. And I think that's what's going on. So I think the next adjustment for the offensive side of the ball is figuring out protection against that chaos. And how do you do that?
They should do less 7-on-7s when they're growing up and all this. And
but how do you do that? How do you do that? Because you can't.
Well, look what the Patriots are going through right now with Will Campbell. Everybody wants them to move him inside. And all of a sudden, the short arm talks back. I'm like,
I know.
I kind of like Vrabel defending him, saying, no, he's our left tackle.
He had a good rookie season, but and he got hurt. I'm not sure how much the injury affected him. Hopefully, it's the injury. I say that about Drake May as well, because they were so bad in the playoffs. You hope it's the injury. And the same, not as high profile with Will Campbell, but you hope it's the injury because he looked bad.
I can't think of a player that had an MVP type year like Drake May had, and then you just completely bomb in the playoff. A recent memory.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Kurt Warner wasn't great in the 99 playoffs, but then he turned it on again. I shouldn't say that. He was good in the divisional round too, but remember in the NFC Championship game, people couldn't figure out why Kurt Warner was struggling. But I thought a lot of it had to do with Dungy, but
he's a human being too. But
exactly. Warner did throw for 400 yards in that Super Bowl. So
yeah,
which by the way, that's one of the more underrated Super Bowls of our time.
Well, I think the best Super Bowl is the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl. So that was the first Patriots Seahawks, at least from what the NFL, the key to the NFL, which I was just talking about. You can watch 58 minutes of bad football, but as long as you have the great ending, everybody thinks they saw the greatest game ever, which I think they had it with Butler and Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll getting shit on. That to me. Well, it's the best one I was at, so I'll say that by a wide margin. There's so many good Super Bowls in the early days, but modern, trying to think of Super Bowl 52. Locally was because it was people like offense. That was,
and it was back and forth. There wasn't a lull in any part of that game.
I saw Kelsey was on Gronk and Edelman's podcast talking about it. It was like, man, we threw for 505. Jim Schwartz is still pissed off about that. They won the Super Bowl. He's still pissed off. It was just a 7, and that's what Edelman said. It was a 7-on-7 game.
Jim Schwartz had a top 5 defense that year. People forget that.
Yeah, he was not happy. He's the only guy not happy. They won the Super Bowl. He's the only guy not happy. But yeah, it's tough. To say which one is the best. But I agree with your point about Drake May. When you play, and he deservedly was second in the MVP race. It's not like it's crazy that people voted for him. He had a great regular season. It's a regular season award. But man, he was just bad in the playoffs. They're just bad. And it's hard to explain other than the injury. So from a Patriots perspective, I would be hopeful it was injury related because it's hard to accept that slide back into where he was.
But I'm concerned with the Patriots is too. they don't strike me as a team that's going to be good next year.
Either they don't strike me as they did not strike me as a Super Bowl team. Credit where credit's due. They got through it. You can only play who's in front of you, but they don't seem to be built to be consistent.
I still
would
think
agree with that.
that's part of the reason why Buffalo overreacted the way they did. I don't think they should have, but maybe they saw, and I know there was a power struggle in there, but maybe overall they're looking at the situation as, okay, we had as good of a chance as anybody with Lamar and the Ravens out, with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs out. We can go. We can be the 6th seed and go to win the Super Bowl, and we just didn't do it. They blew it.
Yeah, well, I agree. Buffalo, and it's tough for me. I still can't get over 13 seconds with Sean McDermott, but I can get over the fact that I can get past it to point out it's a pretty good coach, and I mean the odds that Joe Brady's going to be as good a head coach as him are pretty small, I would say. So. I agree it was a little bit of overreaction, but he's been there a long time. And, shell play is his thing in the NFL. And if you don't get over the hump,
unless you're the Bengals, then they always seem to keep coaches longer than they should.
Well, they're cheap and they don't want to pay another guy.
Yeah.
But I always say, be careful what you wish for. Look at Cincinnati before Marvin Lewis and after. Marvin Lewis. Brutal. And they went to the playoffs every year, 6 years in a row, I think, and lost in the first round, which obviously is going to get you fired, and ultimately got Marvin Lewis fired. But people don't grade on a curve. In Cincinnati, you got to grade on a curve. Like, that's why Joe Burrow's so good. To get that team, to get that organization to the Super Bowl with their 4 scouts, that's pretty freaking impressive.
They're amazing how they operate. They just don't want to spend money.
No, it's awful. I feel bad for Cincinnati fans because that's the one part of the game there is no salary cap. You can do whatever you want. If you're an owner and you truly want to win, you can build up a better support staff than everybody else. And that's what, for as good as Howie is, look at how much help he has versus Cincinnati.
That's why when the Eagles eventually do decide to build a new practice facility, it's going to be the best practice facility of all time.
Yeah, I can't believe they don't have a new practice. I can't believe it.
I'm still shocked. Yeah.
You go to these new facilities, and most recently down in Miami, when we were down there a couple of years ago, that thing is beautiful. The Jets, beautiful.
I've been to 4: Giants, Jets, Ravens, Eagles, and the Giants and Jets, like, they run circles around the Eagles.
Oh, the Jets, the Jets is gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean the Giants is just plain, but it works.
Yeah.
I mean it's adjacent to this. Here's the thing, John. When they eventually do build one, are they going to build it next to a stadium? Whenever they get the stadium thing,
that's why they don't have one, and they have all that space with the naval lot right next to the NovaCare complex, but the city owned. Evidently, the city won't give it to them. Look, people won't like it, but I've advocated for years. Jeffrey's got to go to the suburbs, man. He's got to get one of these sweetheart deals.
The Ravens do that.
Where would he go, though? What suburb would he go? I mean, he'd go to Jersey is where he would probably end up going.
Probably, but
yeah. I mean, there's land in King of Prussia, that area. I can say that.
That's true. I can't imagine the Eagles Stadium being King of Prussia, but that's maybe that's.
No, I couldn't either.
No, they're not going to move the stadium out of Philadelphia. I don't think, but the practice facility's got to move out, in my opinion. It's got to go. Even the Sixers, went to Jersey with their practice facility, and they have a gorgeous practice facility.
Yeah, right. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
We were talking. I was talking about this a couple of times with some players, and remember, John. It was not last year. I guess it was 2 years ago when the whole NFLPA thing, they were going to have like podiums in the middle of the thing, and we were joking. I was joking with a couple of players. Where are you going to have it here? Like, there's no room. Like, Baltimore, there was room. Cleveland, there was room. Where's it going to be here? Like, it's already congested in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, at some point, though, it becomes a competitive disadvantage. It really has. I mean, some of these teams we talk about with these gorgeous facilities stink. I mean, they've been able to stay above with a downgrade in facilities. Interesting, we're having this discussion with, you know, the NFLPA report cards getting shelved from a public standpoint, which is awesome, by the way, because the owners are so butthurt. Oh, God forbid somebody judges them on their shittiness of the way they treat the
There was actual visual evidence of how cheap Michael Bidwell is.
Yeah. So, but you know, the part that's ironic, that the information's still going to get out. It's still going to be leaked, and it's going to be worse for the owners, but they have no clue. But I've always thought at some point it's going to be a competitive disadvantage for the Eagles when you go to these other sites and you see them and you see how advanced they are, and you know, it's just a nice place to work. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's way down the list, and it hasn't really impacted them to this point. So I guess that's why there is no urgency.
I feel like before, when you actually had to bring free agents in and take them on visits before they agreed to a deal or not, it was a bigger deal. Oh, look at our facilities. Look at our stadium. Look at this. Look at that. Now it's just call. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, all the deals are done before March 13th. So it'll be, all the deals will get done over the phone. You're right. Over Zoom.
Do you miss that process, John? Like, remember how big of a deal it was when, like,
I don't miss it being at midnight. Like way back, it started at midnight, and you have to stay up all night because guys would be making.
But do you remember, like, when I know you were covering the Vikings at the time, but when the Eagles brought in Asante Samuel, and you heard at like 8 a.m, I know, like you said, free, but Asante Samuel's going to fly in the Philly and he's going to make a visit. And remember, all the cameras would follow him in. It was like baseball in a sense.
Yeah. There were big. I remember the Kirk Cousins. That he was in the Jets, and then he was in Minnesota, and they're showing the flights and blah blah blah. And boy, that was that you know. And we know in the corporate world today, I mean, that was an obvious cost cutting.
Yeah.
I mean, flying guys around on private jets is not the best way to do business, but it was, I think it was more, there was more style to it when they did that versus, hey, so-and-so, then leaking the phony contract numbers. Oh, 50 million. That's what we get now. Just the bullshit contract numbers, which everybody takes as gospel.
I mean, it was fun back at the time, though. Like, just seeing guys come to the, like, remember when the Eagles were trying to get T.O., that was a big thing. Like, oh, well, he didn't file his paperwork, so now he has to get traded, and he can't go to where he wants to go because he publicly made it like, no, I'm going to the Eagles. I'll find a way to get to the Eagles, and he got traded to the Ravens first.
Yeah. That honeymoon lasted for 1 year. That's it.
Yeah.
So be careful with
you know, I still like to tell people about that story when people like to just get on McNabb about, oh, he was out partying the night before the Super Bowl. Well, who said that? Well, T.O. did. Okay, who else?
I missed the party. You know, there's two stories you're going to hear. The Olympics story that everybody's having sex. Everybody. Yep. You always get that story.
Yeah, you always hear that.
They ran out of condoms at the Olympics because these people can't control themselves. You always get that story. And you always get the story of the back in the old days of so-and-so went out partying before the Super Bowl. That was a big Brett Favre story, who probably was out partying before the Super Bowl, but I digress.
The Raiders were out partying before they played the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, man. The Raiders, yeah. Oof. Who was that center? I forget his name.
Barrett Robbins?
Barrett Robbins, yeah. Thank you. Good pull. Yeah,
That
every
was
year.
yeah.
That was a Super Bowl staple. The partying player story. They've kind of buttoned that up in this. But that Barrett Robbins story was crazy. He was a good player too.
Yeah, we had like no story. I mean, there were storylines when the Eagles played the Chiefs, but none of that stuff.
No. Boy, I'm trying to look up the Barrett Robbins stuff. He was reported as missing for most of the day before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, remember Saturday night he went missing.
Yeah. Crazy.
I said, well, if you're a gambler, just put it all on Tampa now. And that was 14 when that happened.
Yeah, and he was like I said, he was a good player, but yeah, there's some crazy stories. He evidently had bipolar disorder, and so he had some issues, but
that's still the most heartbreaking loss in my lifetime watching the Eagles when they lost to the Bucs at the vet the last game. Seeing Rondé close that place down.
Rondé, yeah.
I remember that.
Or how did you take your? Because you're a Penn State guy, Joe Juravicious. That's
well, Joe Juravicious was always killing the Eagles. He killed them when he was on the Giants, so I was kind of used to it at that point.
Yeah, Joe Juravicious, bringing up some bad memories. We're gonna get.
I'll still remember sitting in the end zone on that play, and you see Barry Garner just trip, pretty much. I'm like, and you could hear a pin drop when that happened. Oh, by the way, it was still a close game when that happened, but that was like the first time the Bucs were able to do anything in that game.
You think the Barbers are Hall of Famers?
Well, Rondé's in, right?
I know. I don't think they are. Yeah, he's in. I don't
think Tiki is. I think Tiki was a really good player. I thought Rondé was a really good player, but I don't know.
He's a cover 2 guy. Come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, I just think they want to put a lot of players on that Bucs defense in the Super Bowl. Did Simeon Rice ever get in?
No. Sapp's in. Lynch is in now.
Brooks is in.
Yeah, Brooks
was the best player on that defense.
Brooks was the guy. Yeah. Sapp is really good too.
I like how people like to rip on Booger McFarland because he's on TV a lot. I'm like, Booger McFarland's pretty good on that defense. Wasn't a star,
I don't mind Booger on TV. Jeff, I have an Eagles question for you here. Jalen Carter is extension eligible. Are you giving Jalen Carter an extension this offseason, Jeff?
I think you have to, don't you?
Oh, you don't have to.
I'm not giving him an extension. I don't know if he's healthy, but I don't have that information.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy I saw last year was not the guy
we saw 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, why not wait? I'd wait.
You wait on Jordan Davison, it's going to work out for you.
But I mean, you got to try. I think it comes down. You got to trust your medical people. If they say he's good, he's going to be fine. Then I think you extend him. Same thing with Cam Jurgens last year. People are like, why extend him?
So how much of the decline in play this year do you put on the injury versus other factors?
I'd go the injury.
I hope it's the injury, similar to Drake May. I hope that's what.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Here's the other conundrum you got in there. After next year, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are eligible. Yeah. So you got to think about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to be careful with Cooper and Quinyon. I'm pretty confident they're going to keep their status. But we were having these discussions about Nolan Smith because he had such a great ending to the Super Bowl season. He played so well. It's like, well, you're going to have to extend Nolan. Well, no, you're not. And in fact, I think if it goes the way it's going and you re-sign Jalen Phillips and all of a sudden you got to make a decision, who would you rather have, Jalix Hunt or Nolan Smith long-term?
Jalix Hunt.
I'm kind of leaning towards Jalix Hunt right now.
I think you're seeing at the very least Jalix Hunt is a very productive player when you got someone on the other side who's still developing.
Yeah. I think he's got a higher ceiling.
Could you see Nolan Smith traded?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I think you could get some good draft capital for him. Someone's going to take a shot on him. It's not like he's a bad player.
No, he's a good player, but there's some injury concerns that everybody was worried about.
So you paying Jalen Phillips then? I mean, it sounds like you're good for Carter. I feel the same about Carter.
I would pay Jalen Phillips.
How much? What's your walk away?
Oh man, that's a good question. What was the spot track?
15 million.
Yeah, I wish that was the case.
Was it spot track? I don't want to grow. Was it? It might have been PFF. I don't know. But whoever did it, I don't want to blame them. But whoever did it, because I want to get it right, who to blame. I mean,
do you think 3 years? Do you think 3 years, 66 million would do it?
I like that deal. 22 million a year.
Well, then I saw somebody say he might get 30 million. I forget who said that. I can't. There's such.
I don't think it'll be that high.
I don't think it'll be that. Here's my question.
Has the market value for him at 17.3.
All right, a little bit.
Sign me up.
But sign me up for that. Here, I hear a lot of Max Crosby stuff because Garofalo said something somewhere.
I told you that's my bold prediction this offseason. It might not be so bold.
Why would you want Max Crosby over, besides sacks? So take sacks off the table. Why would you want Max Crosby over Jalen Phillips?
I think that's a fair question, right? I think it's more of a fair question because I wouldn't mind they got either, but I think they want that premier pass rusher.
I don't think other people are willing to take the sacks off the table, John, is where I think you
sacks. It's got more sacks.
Max Crosby does get a lot of pressures too. We have to be fair with Matt. That guy is always around the quarterback.
Oh yeah, he is.
That guy's also, he's only 28, but he's an old 28. I mean, he's been playing.
I think that's what it is. I think they look at the age and.
Well, my big thing is the age, and not the age is the tread off the tire. Like nobody plays more than Max Crosby. Don't get me wrong, he's a very good player. He never leaves the field on a shitty team. Never wants to leave it. All that is good.
You know how upset he got that the Raiders basically said we're not playing you the rest of the season toward the he was heartbroken.
I think everybody looks at that and thinks it's a positive. Well, that's great. That's great. What I'm telling you is he's played 7 NFL seasons and he's been healthy for the most part. He's 12 games. The Raiders never make the playoffs, so you don't have to go past 17, but so here he is, 16 as a rookie, 16 as 16, 2020, 17, 17, 17. Missed a couple games in 2024. He's back at 15. Nobody plays more snaps. He's the Jalen Carter of defensive ends. Never leaves the field. He plays more than Jalen Carter. I just think he's been beat to shit over the past 7 years of his career, and I think he's going to start descending pretty quickly.
But can you get 3 years of him in a window where you might just need 3?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. But why not keep the guy who's 26?
I agree.
Vic loves him. He's played his best football for Vic. Why? Why? And
is Max Crosby a Vic player? That's what.
That's another. I don't necessarily think he is. But even beyond that, if you don't want to go to that,
And I'll say this, John. Every year, Max Crosby's he's really freaking good. Like
928 snaps last year. And the guy never leaves the field.
He's played 94% or more of the snaps in each of the last 4 years, and he would have played more than 94 if the Raiders basically didn't shut him down, which, again, that's leading to his frustrations with him.
I'm good with Jalen Phillips.
I am too.
Yeah.
If you even take, I just pulled up his PFF grades. He was second in 2021. He was fourth. The last 2 years, he's dropped to 25 and 15. So he's already started a little bit of a descent. And I think it's totally, but how much he's played. I think he's beat up.
Oh, and but this is the difference between fan bases in this city. The Phillies bring back Kyle Schwarber, one of their own, for a lot of money, and it's not an addition. I guarantee you, if the Eagles bring back Jalen Phillips, they will consider that an addition and a good re-signing.
The fans?
Yes, the fans.
No.
Wow. What did you see? People don't like the Schwarber signing?
No, but they don't like how the Phillies
No,
basically brought back their own guy.
Fans never think bringing back your own guys in addition.
Yeah, but don't complain when you lose them.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's fair, but I'm just saying.
Well, isn't that objectively true? I mean, if you have a team and you have a player that's already on the team and he comes back to return, it's technically not an addition. It's a new contract, but it's not an addition.
I'd rather keep my own guy.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying from the word of addition, it's not really an addition.
I'm saying from an executive standpoint, like those guys get pissed off. It's like, well, we kept this guy. You know, you have a certain amount of
new contracts. The bigger money does matter.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah.
They have a certain amount of assets they got to get. And nobody looks at bringing a guy back as doing something. That is not
correct. Yeah.
That is not Philadelphia centric. That is sports centric.
Oh, yeah, that is sports. It's not just a fan base. But I mean, look, I think the Eagles need to bring back either Jalen Phillips, or if they can't, then you go get Max Crosby. They got to have a premier pass rusher in there. That's why I thought they had a good chance to go back to the Super Bowl, because that defense was getting better week in and week out ever since they traded for Phillips.
But plus, does it sound like Howie gave up a third-round pick for Jalen Phillips? Does it sound like Howie to then give up a third-round pick and then
to let him walk? Yeah,
let him walk and then send a 1 and a 2, which is the rumor for Max Crosby? Does that sound like Howie Roseman?
No.
Plus, he's got to pay Max Crosby more than he's got to pay Jalen Phillips. Did Howie wake up and get replaced by one of the dummies around this league? I don't think so. I'm not buying it.
That sounds like a Les Snead type move. You trade for a guy, you let him walk, and then you trade for another guy.
Yeah.
And to Les Snead, its credit, it does work.
Well, it has worked, you know. Well, those are the guys. Those are the three guys. Howie, Schneider now, John Schneider, and Les Snead. Those are the three. Anybody I'm missing?
I think John Lynch deserves to be up there, but he's not on their level.
Yeah, come on. That Trey Lance thing, I'll always hold against them. Even though they recovered, that was brutal. Why are you drafting a quarterback that the offensive guru that everybody loves wants no part of him, and you're trading up
him anyway?
Yeah, that's I can't put him in that category.
Is Elliott Wolf the Patriots GM now?
He is. He's run. I don't know if that's his title.
Yeah, or is he like vice president of football operations or whatever he is?
Yeah, let me look up his title. Yeah, vice president of player personnel and de facto general manager.
I thought he did a good job with them this year. I just don't think that they're elite.
No.
Trying to think the Ravens GM. I'm losing it.
Eric DeCosta.
Yeah, Eric DeCosta. Yeah, he's very good. I almost said Steve Visky. I'm like, that's the owner.
Yeah, DeCosta's good.
By the way, did you see him just bomb Jameson Hensley during his ESPN shot the other week?
No.
When they hired blanking on the name.
Leonard Weaver, defensive coordinator.
Anthony
Weaver.
Yeah.
Who's Leonard Weaver? He was a good
the Eagles fullback. The only
Leonard. Yeah, Anthony Weaver, who was in Baltimore, left to go to Miami, and now he's back. Yeah. So again, the shuffling of the deck chairs of the NFL is awesome.
Yeah, they fired Harbaugh to hire a Harbaugh guy. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Well, the Bills kind of did that. They fired McDermott just to hire his offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Anthony Weaver. He was the assistant head coach in Baltimore under Harbaugh. Then he goes to Miami to be the defensive line coach. Then he went to Miami to be the DC, and then he comes back as the DC. And like you said, that is going to get me. People hate, but what do we? Why do people think coaches are magicians and they're just going to turn? They're the reason you lose, and they're going to turn it around to be the reason you win. When are people going to figure out it's personnel, Jeff Kerr?
The Ravens do have personnel. I think that's why Mentor's there.
Well, they do. They had a bad year for where they should have been. I mean, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, as I usually do. I mean, there's no doubt they had a bad year for what they should have been. And anytime you have Lamar Jackson, but is he at the point where we start talking about him descending? Well, he's not running as much. We always talk about the Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and what is he now? 29?
He's descending. I would say he's descending.
Yeah.
So, I mean, guess what, Jesse Minter? If you don't have MVP Lamar Jackson,
you're not going to be a good coach.
I mean, if that's where we are, I don't know, maybe he readjusts his thinking. Like, that's part of the thing here with Jalen Hurts. I think the most important thing is, hey, let's get the running game back involved. Let's get the quarterback one impact on the running game. And if he refuses to do that, or the organization has made a decision that won't allow him to do that, I think the Eagles are in freaking trouble.
Oh, and by the way, Jalen Hurts' contract next year, there's no more guarantee money.
Yeah, is he going to get an extension
this year, right? Does he still have guaranteed money for this season or no?
This season he does.
This season, I was going to say, yeah. Because they'd be redoing that if he didn't have any this year.
Yeah. I think that's where I know, like, people like to get on WIP, but I think that is a fair all-season topic right now.
Well, I don't think this is true with Jalen, but I will say this. And I honestly don't believe that we've reached this with Jalen yet. But I feel like in the beginning of these quarterbacks' careers, like guys like Lamar, Jalen, guys that are Josh Allen, guys that run the ball a lot, everybody's happy to accept that it's a shorter shelf life because of the talent of the player at the given time. We'll worry about that down the line. And then you get down the line, and the shelf life is showing.
All of a sudden, you're in year 7, year 8 of this thing.
Exactly. It starts to look like, all right, it's not the same thing anymore. And then people have a hard time accepting that the player might not be the same because the player was so dynamic and great because of his athletic prowess. If that goes away even 10% or 20%, that's a big difference in the NFL. So, I do think that's happening with Lamar. I don't think Jalen's reached that point yet in terms of the age, but maybe he has. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question. That's why I want to see him run the ball more, because did he lose that? If he does, then he kind of loses a significant chunk of his value. But that's one thing. When Jalen was becoming the starter, his biggest strength was, okay, well, yeah, I can't throw. Well, I can run, and you can't stop me. And then he became a dual threat at both. And I don't know. I just don't. If you get those numbers out of Jalen next year, you got a decision to make.
What do you think Sean Mann is going to do, Jeff? Do you think he's just going to come in here and run Kyle Shanahan's scheme and force Jalen to do what he's not been typically adept at? Or do you think he's just going to come in like a good football coach and build around the quarterback?
I think he'll adapt to his quarterback. Yeah, I think he'll adapt to his quarterback.
Isn't that what everybody should be hoping for?
Yeah, I mean, Nick Sirianni did it, and Shane Steichen did it year 1. They tried it. Okay, let's see if this works. Well, if this worked, then Jalen played pretty good at the end of 21, and they kind of carried over.
Nobody expected that team to be in the playoffs.
No, they were 4-11-1 the year before. Like, I remember Jalen. Remember, John? We were at the Jets game, and Minshew played. And he had a really good game, and there was like
a great
talk
game.
about it.
Great game.
It was phenomenal.
Gardner's so clueless. He went into Nick's office and said, "Hey, what can I do to earn the starting job?" Nick's like,
nothing.
Settle down, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless him, though. He had
But
that great
Jalen came
quote.
back from that ankle injury and was tremendous the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, he got pushed by the great Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, that's how that was.
Yeah.
He even got pushed by him the next year.
Then the next game, Gardner was terrible. He had to play again. Who was that against? New Orleans, was it?
Remember, he played well against the Cowboys. And I'm like, okay, well, they got one game. Maybe Jalen will be back. And then he played against New Orleans. He was there. Remember, he threw that under. He had that underthrown ball to AJ Brown, and Brown had a 74-yard touchdown out of it.
Yeah.
That was peak AJ right there.
Yeah. Gardner's got a lot of confidence. I give him that.
I mean, the guy wore an aviator jacket to his press conference in New York. I still have a photo of that. Thought it was awesome.
Gardner Minshew. Speaking of backup quarterbacks, all right, that's an interesting question because a lot of people are hyping up this. Boy, I think it's so silly to talk about what they did with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts and trying to replicate it because they weren't trying to think what they're doing to replicate. Like, people just make shit up in their heads, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, they did it before. No, they Howie saw the way the market was going for backup quarterbacks, didn't want to pay $5 to $10 million for a
top dollar when you're already paying your starter a lot of money.
Yeah. So he wanted a cost-effective backup. And the proof of this is when Nick Sirianni was interviewing for the job, he was asked, how are you going to fix Carson Wentz? How are you going to get him on the right track?
I thought they were going to keep Carson, but Carson was the one who didn't want to come back.
Exactly. That the Eagles were planning on trying it one more time. That's why Nick was here. That's what the interview was about. That's what Nick believed it was going to be Carson Wentz. And even really, you mentioned making the playoffs in 2021, which was unexpected. As late as the spring of 2022, they were trying to get Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson to look at them.
Me, Jody, Zander, we spent a lot of time talking about what quarterback they might get.
Yeah.
Or they're interested in getting.
So the point is, the plan was not to push, or what was the word Fowler used, to put some pressure on Carson Wentz. No, nobody's looking to draft a quarterback to put pressure on Jalen Hurts. What they might do, because Tanner McKee's entering the last year, is draft a quarterback to be the cost-effective backup.
Yeah, the developmental quarterback.
Now,
that's what Jalen was here for.
I think it's a pretty crappy quarterback draft, by and large. So I don't see them going like second-round quarterback. Maybe a Ty Simpson if he falls, but I don't know if they like him. I do know they like Garrett Nussmeier, but I don't think Garrett.
They're familiar with Garrett Nussmeier too.
Yeah, I don't think. I think he's going to get pushed up the board because there are no quarterbacks. And then you start talking about the Carson Becks of the world, and the key.
What if the Saints draft Garrett Nussmeier?
Well, Drew Aller. How about your guy? Where's your guy going? Drew Aller.
Who knows? Like. I still don't know if he's 100%.
I take Drew Aller in the 5th round.
Yeah, definitely in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Is that where is he going to fall that far?
I don't.
He
know.
might.
I'm just making it up.
Well, wasn't he once upon a time?
Oh, the people were talking about him as a.
I literally had Cleveland Browns players at the Eagle scouts at the Eagles camp tell me that. Drew Aller, they're going to be in every Penn State game this year.
It is really crazy how fast it can change in college. Like one day you could think you're going to be a number 1 overall pick, and the whole world's going to fall in your fingertips, and then couple months later, boom! All of a sudden you'll be lucky to be in the 5th round.
I had NFL people tell me, and Nicholas Singleton went to the draft last year, the Chargers were probably going to take him in the 1st round over Omari and Hampton. Like, it's crazy.
Nick Singleton. What is he?
This was last year
for the 3rd, 4th round.
Well, he broke his ankle at the Senior Bowl.
I'm going to say 3rd, 4th round. But there are, the running back. There's Love. There's the 2 kids from Notre Dame. I forget the other one.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Love is a Chief.
Boy, that kid is awesome.
Yeah. That's the debate in Kansas City right now. Do you draft Jeremiah Love at 9, or do you draft one of these good pass rushers? Because they need one of them too.
Well, you generally, if you're a bad team, I don't advocate taking a running back. But if you're a good team and you can get somebody like that, man,
that's what they're like. Or do you go the free agent route with some of these running backs and you try to be cost efficient? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Jeremiah Love's really good.
Yeah, I think he's different. Like, I think he's way better.
Where's the right fit for him this year, guys? Because normally you have to get a team that's ready to take a running back. I mean, that doesnn't always go that way. The Raiders, you saw.
Look, the Giants took Saquon.
Yeah, and the
Falcons didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. He was a good player, but the Falcons took
Bijan. You go back to Jahmyr Gibbs, I think was the 12th overall pick. Well, that freaking worked. And nobody thought it would work when they took him.
You know what? Even if the Eagles took Bijan that year, it would have worked here. It just wasn't what they do.
Yeah, it's because we're a good team with a good offensive line. I mean, or have had a good offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what a great receiver Bijan is if he was here.
Yeah, which would be a problem.
Yeah. But I think he's the best running back since Bijan Robinson, Jeremiah Love. But yeah, I mean, I would not take a running back if you're not ready to win right now. So buyer beware there, because there's nothing you can do. You saw it with Saquon this year. If you're getting, hit 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, it doesn't matter how good you are. You're not getting out of neutral. So you got to be careful. It's easier to take an edge rusher. Everybody needs edge rushers. But if I'm a good team, I'd jump at Love. Jump at him.
I would too.
Because I think he's the best player in the draft, period. Regardless of position.
That was, you know what, John? When I was on with the Chiefs last week, that was the consensus. Like, if you're going pound for pound, who's the best player? And 3 people said Love. No one said Fernando Mendoza, by the way.
No. I think Caleb Downs is really good too.
I like him. Beast. Yeah, he's a beast.
Those are my 2 favorite players in the draft. Love and Downs.
Where do you have Proctor?
I think he's good, but if you're really moving, like if you're really going wide zone stretch all the time, like I said to Zander, you really want a 6'7", 360-pound guy freaking reach blocking all day? I don't know. So it depends what they're going to do. If they're truly going to play this system by hell or high water, then I wouldn't take them. If they're just going to take advantage of the talents of the players, I seriously consider them at 23. I think it'd be a perfect pick pre-change for this team because they need a heir apparent to Lane Johnson, and he could start inside and be a Mekhi Becton-like presence inside. I think it would be perfect, but I don't know if it's perfect anymore.
All right, so I'm going to go with my quote-unquote hot take, and it's not a hot take if you know the history. The best player in the draft will probably end up being Carnell Tate.
Well, Ohio State's got a bunch of guys, man.
I don't think that's that crazy. I don't think that's that crazy.
They just produce receivers left and right.
Yeah, and that is a stud. I mean, if he goes to the right spot, I mean, you see receivers, they can come into the league and dominate quick.
I remember when Seattle drafted Smith-Njigba, I'm like, yeah, he'll be good. He went to Ohio State.
The question for Tate's where's he go? Where's he go?
Yeah.
All college football does is produce receivers now. That's it. That's all they do.
Jordan Tyson's really good.
I saw Dane Brugler from The Athletic had 17 guys in his top 100, 17 receivers in his top 100. 17.
I forgot Denzel Boston's going out this year. I'm just looking at receivers. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you got the Lemon kid from SC. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
You got Boston. You got Tyson. You mentioned. You got Concepcion. I think if the Eagles want a manufactured touch yards after catch guy.
This is how good This is how good this receiver class is. Like, I'm just looking at that big board. Concepcion's 10th on this board. Like,
yeah, Chris
What
Bell
am I missing here? Yeah.
Omar Cooper from Indiana. People probably
what's in their name receiver? Fields.
Malachi Fields, yeah, he's a big dude though. He's more of a contested. I don't like drafting contested catch guys.
The Branch kid that was at USC and he went to Georgia. I think he's eligible this year.
Yeah, CJ Daniels. So Indiana's got two, Cooper and Elijah Sarrett. Jeremy Bernard from Zander's Crimson Tide. He's a top pick. Skylar Bell from UConn. Malachi Fields. Chris Brazell from Tennessee. Deion Burks from Oklahoma. Antonio Williams from Clemson. Damn. You can't find a receiver in this NFL, man. You're not doing your homework.
No wonder why people think the Eagles are going to take a receiver in this draft.
So does that mean AJ Brown's gone? You guys think AJ Brown's gone for sure? A lot of speculation. You know how fans put everything.
I still don't think he's gone.
They're like spy detectives in the offseason. I get sent this thing in the offseason. AJ posted that he's got an event and his graphic team put an Eagle jersey on him and it's after the draft, so he's gonna be back. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you talking about, man?
AI is a wonderful drug, Zander.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this, but do you think AJ
so like last year, I think I was on with you guys. Like I saw a mock draft for the Eagles had taken Luther Burden. I'm like, sign me up for that. I don't care if they have a million receivers. I love Luther Burden in college.
Luther Burden was good last year, man.
He was.
He hit the ground. Yeah. Yeah, to your point about the social media, that was his youth football camp in Allentown. Yeah. I don't think I don't think AJ is mixing with the social media people and giving them Eagles jersey instructions.
No.
Call me crazy.
Apparently the caption had "Fly Eagles Fly" or something. I'm like,
I think John and I need to go cover AJ Brown's youth football camp in Allentown, though.
No, I'm not gonna. He has one in Haddonfield. He generally has one in Haddonfield. I go to that.
AJ stay around all year. I think he does, doesn't he?
Stays in Jersey, doesn't he?
I thought he did. I mean, I remember last season remember there was made a big deal after the Super Bowl last year when he tweeted out, "Are there any quarterbacks in the area?" And everyone's like, "What about Jalen Hurts?" I'm like,
"Oh, he ain't here. He's in Texas."
He's in Texas or wherever he wants to be. It's the off season, man. I don't know what.
Well, I know AJ lives in South Jersey. Here, his permanent residence is still in Nashville, but I don't know how often he goes back and forth. He's here a lot, though.
I'll have to ask my Nashville people because they used to see him a lot.
He was in Miami. Somebody caught him, on vacation, giving some kid $500 to buy a PlayStation or whatever. He travels. He's got a lot of money. He'll go back and forth, but he spends a decent amount of time here.
I've actually I've taught the players about this because we like to joke about social media, especially the younger players. They said, "Do you ever just want to post something just to get people riled up?" I said, "Do you guys do that?" They said, "Sometimes." That's why I try not to take it seriously.
Social media will be the end of us all.
It already is.
Whenever I do, you will never see me on social media. Whenever I do retire, I will not be on.
I love John on social media.
I will not be on X.com anymore.
No.
Xander's barely on X.com.
No, I hate X. I don't go on social media personally. I like YouTube. I'm a YouTube guy. Our business is built on YouTube. I'm a YouTube.
Oh, YouTube's great. I love YouTube.
I'm a YouTube first guy.
Yeah, I feel Twitter X is the one that gets the most traction. So
it definitely is for your guys' business.
Yeah.
That's where I scour my news for sure.
But a lot of the content creators, I give them credit. They start a show on YouTube and look, some of it's very entertaining, whether you're absolutely in the trenches or not. It's entertaining.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you like entertainment, that's your thing.
Jeff, give me one bold prediction that the Eagles do this offseason. And it can be any.
Didn't I give you it last week with Max Crosby?
Is that your Max?
Yeah, we just talked about social media. That's the most common social media.
But I said it before Garofalo did.
Oh, bullshit. I need something bold, Jeff.
I thought it was being bold there. How bold do you want me to go?
That's pretty bold. I'm not taking Krause.
I think paying Jalen Carter would be a bold prediction.
I don't think that's that bold.
I don't think that's bold. I think people expect them to pay Jalen. I think it's bold to say they're not going to pay Jalen Carter. I say wait. Why not?
I think drafting a tight end in the first round would be bold.
I do.
There we go. Kenyon Sadiq.
Because they haven't done it. It's
first pick, number 23 overall. Kenyon Sadiq.
I'm ready for John McMullen to go. The Eagles are going to draft Drew Allen in round 3.
Oh, that'd be great.
I could see it.
I would love that. I would love that. They can draft.
You get all the Penn State sycophants excited.
Anybody from this Penn State senior class can draft. I'll be in a good mood for my business.
Will they be excited, John? Like Jeff, you tell me as a Penn State sycophant yourself. I think you are one.
I wouldn't call myself a Penn State sycophant.
I would. Do you like Drew Allen?
I thought he was kind of disappointing. If I'm
I
like the kid personally.
Guys like Drew Allen that much.
Look, Penn State.
Well, a lot of people
don't.
I'll say this: the people that don't like Jalen Hurts will be very excited by that, because there's a lot of people that don't like Jalen Hurts,
which I don't get. I don't know.
I don't get it either. But whatever.
I don't know. I mean, but then again, the Jalen Hurts spectrum. It's like, when people caught wind that I said Jalen Hurts shouldn't have been Super Bowl MVP, it should have been Josh Sweat, I got destroyed. I'm like, I defend Jalen Hurts like literally every day.
Oh, yeah. They're just as bad. I get destroyed all the time. I hate Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. John, you don't remind me as a Jalen Hurts hater. You just don't. No. And I know you.
I talk to John every single day about the Eagles. John is not a hater of anybody. I don't think.
No. He might be a hater of himself.
Well, that's true. There's a lot of self-loathing there.
Well, the only people you like are your dog. They're not even people. You don't like people. You like dogs.
That's true.
I can't blame you for that. I can't blame you for that.
I will say this. My nephew's 4 months old, and some of the stuff you say to him, he smiles a lot. I've gotten to smile every time I say Barkley and Jalen Hurts.
There you go. So is that like your sign that Jalen Hurts is a W or what?
I mean, he is a winner.
That's a bold one. Extension for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's a bold one.
That's not coming, I don't think.
I don't think that's coming either. I'm just trying to think of in-house candidates that would be available for.
I don't know. I think
is it bold to say Landon Dickerson's going to retire?
Yeah, that's not.
That's that he is going to. I think so. I don't think there's any way he's retiring.
I don't see it. I think that was floating in his head, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I think it happens to a lot of players now. I mean, they go through a miserable season. He went through a miserable season injury.
He was not happy this year.
No, and he was. It sucks.
Yeah, and everybody's chirping, so you might have some natural self-doubt that creeps in. About have I lost it? Should I be playing? Am I too injured to continue? Stuff like that. Am I a liability for? I'm sure all those things.
I mean, I was in the locker room since I got laid off, but I think it was like the week or two before I saw him. I think I was talking to Lane or Cam. It was one of the rare times Lane was talking. I saw Landon, and I just wanted to ask him, you all right? But he did not look all right. You could tell something was bothering him, and it had to be his injuries.
Yeah, he went through a really difficult season, and you guys that are when the season ends, a lot of guys think, do I really want to go through this again? And then they unplug the batteries and take some time, and then they're like,
Jason Kelsey did that every year.
Yeah. Then then they're like, I don't want to stay at home. I gotta go. I gotta get out.
They stay at home with their wives, and they realize
I gotta get out. I gotta get out. He'll be back. That is my bold prediction. Landon Dickerson will be back, and Lane Johnson will be back as well.
I think Lane will be back too.
Me too. I think so. We'll find out though. I don't know. Will Chris Cooper get him? It's Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson might be teaching Chris Cooper more than Chris Cooper.
Hey! You want to go? You want to go? You want to go really bold, Zander? The Eagles draft the wide receiver in the first round.
I like that.
That's
I like
bold.
that.
Well, then AJ's leaving. That would be bold. The only way they're taking a wide receiver in the first round is AJ's leaving.
Man.
Where's your boy
But there's-
Jahan Dotson going?
Ooh. Whoever can give him the most money.
Yeah, but he hasn't put a lot on tape in the last couple of years.
I think he's looking for opportunity.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
he
He knows he's getting a 1 year prove it deal wherever he goes.
Yeah, go find somewhere you can get the ball.
Yeah. Whoever
He'll
can
get
give
the
him
ball at some
opportunity.
places.
Yeah, I don't think John's a bad player.
I don't either. I think he's a good player. I think he's a little small and undersized, which I think that's his biggest, limitations in the league. But I think he's a good player.
Yeah,
I'd like to see in an Eagles uniform next year. You want my Penn State take?
Yeah.
Patron Allen. I'd take him.
I don't know if I know who that is.
Look him up. He's good. He maximizes his opportunity.
Oh, I know Katron Allen, the running back from Penn. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good one.
They had a good 1-2 punch.
They did.
I think they could use a 1-2 punch.
Notre Dame had a better 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Though.
When Penn State actually relied on that 1-2 punch, it's funny how they were able to win games, even though last year was terrible. No matter who the quarterback was.
Well, now you got Nick Sirianni's best friend, Matt Campbell. So
they got my boy. Well. They got my boy at quarterback now, Rocco Becht. I'm excited.
Rocco Becht.
I watched so much Iowa State.
Where did he come from? Where did he come from? Rocco.
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Oh, he was at Iowa State?
Yeah.
Last year he played with 2 injured shoulders and somehow was able to grind out the year he had. Which
I like Rocco. I like his dad too. His dad
Anthony backed. Yeah.
Anthony always comes on JAKIB, so I got a lot of love for Anthony.
Yeah. Anthony's a good dude.
He's been on Cilio a bunch. He's good.
Isn't he the head coach of the UFLs or Orlando something? He just moved. He was the St. Louis Battlehawks.
He was the Battlehawks. Is that right?
Yeah. Now he's in Orlando, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't know he moved. I knew he was with the Battlehawks for a little bit. That's good.
UFL's unveiling their new uniforms this week, guys.
Are they? That's exciting.
I can't keep trying. So is it the UFL now, or because didn't they combine with the XFL? Or
they combined. Yeah, it was the USFL and the XFL, and they combined.
Okay, now they're the UFL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I got it now.
John, I would have kept the XFL.
Me too, John. I liked the XFL. I thought it sounded dope.
You know what? I thought the new USFL was kind of intriguing. Like you took the old names of the teams and they had like their, you had the Philly Stars, you had the Jersey Generals. It was very nostalgic. It was just they never played in the home market, so you didn't get that experience.
All right, without looking it up, give me the name of the Orlando UFL team.
I don't know. I don't know what their team name is. That's
Orlando. I don't know.
The Orlando Storm.
I should have known that. That sounds like the old freaking arena football team. Wasn't there?
They were the Tampa Bay Storm. They were the Tampa Bay Storm.
They were the Tampa Storm. Damn. The old
You know that's one of my mysteries in life. The city is called Tampa. Why is every sports team Tampa Bay?
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's
because they don't play in St. Petersburg. Well, the Rays play in St. Petersburg, but I think they play in St. Petersburg. I can remember. It's
no, they did. The Tropicana field was and the roof got blown off in the
they
hurricane.
Fixed it.
Did they fix it? No, they were playing at the Yankees training
spring training complex last year.
Yeah, I think
they had all their home games done before August. At least that's what it felt like.
Are they playing there this year, or is that?
No, they're back in the Trop.
They are?
Ooh, yeah, they fixed it.
I thought they were going to trash
but they're getting a new stadium in a couple years.
Yeah. All right, good for the Tampa Bay Rays. You get a lot of knowledge here. Multiple sports, UFL talk, Orlando Storm, St. Louis.
Hey, John, I know your favorite talk right now. Uniforms. Did you see the logo got leaked for the Titans?
Wait, what are they talking about? New unis?
Titans are basically going back to Oilers colors.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, really?
Amy Adams Strunk is obsessed with the Oilers, the team she took away from Houston.
Oh my,
See,
greatest!
I kind of thought the multiple blues was kind of a cool look.
I did. You know what? The Titans' first uniforms, the year they went to Super Bowl when they changed, they were awesome. And then they went to that Nike thing, and I'm like, man,
Houston Oilers have the greatest fight song in NFL history.
They do have a great fight song.
In my opinion. Second greatest song, sports song ever. Can you give me number one? It's local.
It's not Fly Eagles Fly.
No, that's if
would it be your Westchester Golden Rams fight song?
No. I don't even know what that is.
Sixer song?
Yes, the Sixer song.
Oh, the Sixer song's great. That's the best part going to a Sixers game.
Phenomenal. The fact that they took it away for so many years before bringing it was an abomination. Houston Oilers song was phenomenal. And now it's the Houston Texans. Man, the Oilers are so much better than the Texans.
Yeah.
Why not just keep the name?
They couldn't keep the name. They tried to get the name back, and Adams wouldn't give it up.
I know. It's like, come on. If you're going to move,
he has such a vendetta over Houston. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then you actually bring back the Oilers throwbacks against Houston. What a slap in the face.
Stupid.
They
did it right. At least when Cleveland went to Baltimore, they kept the Browns in Cleveland.
Wasn't there like a handshake deal on that?
Yeah. That's what they should always do.
Well, the NFL promised Cleveland they get another team, right? They would get them back, or was that the deal?
Yeah. It was known pretty quickly they were it was coming back.
And they haven't been the same since. Or never changed.
No, they've never. Well, you got to go back to Jim Brown, pretty much. Not quite. They were good.
Did you guys see the Commanders are basically going back to their old unis, their old unis, their old name unis?
No. The Redskins. We can say Redskins. We're not.
Yeah. Can we say it? Okay.
We're not delicate babies here.
I'm trained at CBS to not say that name.
Yeah, we don't have.
They told me. I got in trouble for that. I'm like, well, wasn't that their name?
Yeah, we don't have those
sensibilities. Yeah, the delicate sensibilities. It was their nickname, so I call them their nickname.
Oh man, come on! CBS doesn't let you say Redskin. Come on.
No, they wouldn't let us do it. We had to do Washington.
We
had to say Washington. Yeah.
Well, I heard Josh Harris was going to try to bring it back, but I don't know.
They kind of teased it, if you read through the tea leaves on social media with their graphic, like next season it changes, and everybody's like, "Oh, they mean the team." I'm like, "No, they don't." If you look at the uniforms,
guys, they're an interesting team this year. Like they had that good year, obviously, where they lost in the NFC Championship game. Then they came back to earth completely. Looked like the Commanders again. What is your outlook on that team this upcoming year? I asked both of you that. John, you had them winning the East last year. Man, that was the only thing I think I was adamant against you.
Well, I was betting on history, 2 decades.
Yeah,
plus.
I get it.
And they were the best team. It was clear to me, they had a bunch of injuries. They'll bounce back. The question is Jaden Daniels has got to play 17 games.
Yeah.
And then they'll be.
Yeah, he's got to be healthy.
They'll be at the floor will be like 500 or 8-9. Nobody's 500. 8 or 9 wins, and then depends on what your decisions are in the offseason for the rest of the personnel. But
that's why I love quarterback rankings too. Like some people still have Jaden Daniels in their top 5. I'm like, and where in God's green earth is Jaden Daniels a top 5 quarterback last season?
Well, you could say top 5 talent, but you can't say top 5 quarterback. It depends on your definition. So I assume the people who say that are saying top 5 talent, which I would agree with. But certainly,
I would agree with too. But like, if you're going just based off last year, no way.
No, he barely played. Like, how many games he played last year?
I don't even know if he played 6 games. If he did, I was shocked.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, if Drake May, to use the example of them, if he plays 6 games, I don't think New England's having a good season next year.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I just think part of the reason that they had so many injuries is because they decided to hire,
Well, they signed a bunch of old people too.
Yeah,
He started
the
7
oldest
games.
roster in the league.
7 games he played.
That's why I couldn't get on board with what they did. I'm like, you got a young quarterback who literally just had a rarefied air type of season. And you give yourself,
and you had the oldest roster in the league.
You signed a bunch of old, like that to me was a bad GMing offseason. Like, get younger. The young teams in the league win. I mean, that's what you got to do. I just didn't like the way they approached it. After Jaden Daniels, amazing story.
And it really was bad when they signed like Von Miller. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're old and you're getting older. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
Get it. I didn't get it.
Like Tunzel was a good trade for them, but he was still an older player.
Yeah, they're very old.
Band-Aid. I mean, that's a quick Band-Aid. That's like one of the kids' Band-Aids you use.
That they didn't belong. It's similar to it. I always say you got to be very honest with yourself. And they were not an NFC championship team. They had some breaks along the way, and they took advantage of them. They did not belong in that game with the Eagles. They didn't, and they proved it. In that NFC chat, they skipped steps almost, and they got caught up in, wow, look at how close we are, and they weren't really that close.
Yeah. And the NFC's open, and we're going for it. Well,
yeah.
No, really, the closer team was Seattle, who didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing with New England this year. Like if they say, look at how close. Look, they would have got waxed, and I'm not even a Bo Nix fan. They would have got waxed by Denver if.
Seattle Denver would have been a much better Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, if Jarrett Stidham wasn't the starting quarterback, so they did not belong in that game, and they proved it. They didn't belong in that game.
That's where I feel bad for Denver because, like you said, John, they took those steps, right? Peyton tore it down, build it back up. They make the playoffs last year, got destroyed. They get the 1 seed, and their quarterback gets hurt, and they win a big game against Buffalo. And it's like, well, that sucks. They still won the championship game.
Toughest thing to do is be honest with yourself in the NFL.
Yeah. Isn't that in real life?
Well, partially.
Yeah, that is well true, Jeff, in real life. All right, brother, we appreciate it, Jeff. Good long segment today, man. We appreciate you joining in as we get deeper into the offseason here. We now have the franchise tag windows opening up. We got the combine starting next week. It's draft. It's off-season time, Jeff. A lot coming up in Eagle Land, so we're looking forward to talking to you each
Combine's next week, isn't it?
Yeah, it starts next Monday. We'll be talking to you next Monday. It'll be
Underwear Olympics. Oh, he ran a 4.4. Oh, my Lord.
You know who's going to be the Combine darling? Who was going to be the Combine darling? Nicholas Singleton. As someone who's seen the guy run 40s.
You're so right. Nick Singleton.
He was going to be the Combine darling.
Jeff, you know where I met Nick Singleton? At the
Maxwell's?
Yep. When we produced the Maxwell, and I think he was the high school player of the year.
Yeah, he was high school player of the year that year.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you met him before.
I met him there, and he was, let me tell you what, he was a humble, good dude. Shook my hand, polite, thanked me for anything I did for him, asked me. Yeah, he was very.
That's how he's been since I know him.
But yeah, I appreciate it. So.
And it's weird, like good games, same attitude. Bad games, same attitude.
Yeah, it's good. Good, definitely a good dude. We'll see what he's able to do. Jeff, good show, man. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next Monday when the combines are kicking off, brother. We appreciate it.
Yep, Underwear Olympics.
We'll talk to you about small hands next week.
And small arms. Who's this year's Will Campbell?
Arm length, yeah. Arm length, small hands.
Was Bo Nix the small hand guy? Who was the small hand guy?
You're going to hear length. Reuben Bain's going to be the length guy. He doesn't have the arm length to be, he's a top 5 pick from a production standpoint, but he doesn't have the arm length. That's Reuben Bain's going to be that guy.
I agree. We'll see. All right, Jeff, good stuff, man. We'll talk to you next week. All right, brother.
All right, see you guys.
All right,
see you, Jeff.
There's Jeff Kerr joining us right here on Birds 365. Good show today. Appreciate Jeff Kerr joining us. Here you can follow him at Jeff Kerr PHL, and that'll do it for our interview with Jeff. We appreciate him joining in today. John, plenty of stuff to talk about this week. I want to get into some of the big picture stuff. We're going to dive deep into the NFL draft, so we'll start to prepare for that. And then obviously free agency is even closer than the draft. We'll take a look at that with the combine coming up next week. Franchise tag window. I think the Jalen Carter conversation is interesting, John. I think that's worthy of a full, thorough segment from Johnny Mack and Zander on Jalen Carter. So we'll probably get to that segment tomorrow. I want to talk a little bit about that, the complexity of that, and what that might look like. But, John, it's all out in front of us now for what this team will do to try and retool and reposition, John, for another year of contending.
Yeah, more uncertainty this season, this year than in past years. I would say that more sort of open-endedness. A lot of that dealing with the new offense and what's projected to be the new offense. And yeah, I would agree. There's more openings. Even on the offensive side, even if AJ's back. Landon's back, Lane's back, as I think they're going to be. I think it's new tight ends, potential shifts in on the offensive line if you find a better sort of fit for Tyler Steen, for instance. So even there's a little bit of newness, but and then you have to start drafting, as Howie kind of intimated, on the offensive side of the ball. They've gone heavy defense because they paid a lot of their offense. Now it's got to shift. So I think you're going to see a heavy offensive perspective in the draft.
I agree. We'll see what ends up happening here, John, with this team. Obviously got guys to pay on defense, and maybe you're right. Maybe that is the switch where you see more offensive players draft. John, when's the last offensive player drafted in the very top?
Oh, well, by the way, real quick, Dolphins are releasing Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody wanted me to ask you about that. That's a big Fangio guy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, if you lose Jalen Phillips, get Bradley Chubb. A lot of people said last year, get Bradley Chubb over Jalen Phillips. Clearly, he likes Phillips better. Phillips is younger, but yeah, I mean, he'd be a fit, but he would be a contingency plan, no doubt. I mean, behind Jalen Phillips.
What about if, like, they ended up trading Nolan Smith? They have Jalix, they have Phillips, they bring in Chubb as a third. What do you think of that type of rotation?
Yeah, I don't think they're moving away from Nolan this year.
No.
He's a good player. I think I
just feel like they've identified. Well, I don't know this, obviously. It feels to me like he's going to be identified as not a long-term piece. So do you try and get value? I don't know. Do you go a different direction? Do you maybe try and let Jalix Hunt get on the field a little bit more? I don't know. Maybe that's putting the cart before the horse again. But I do think Jalix showed some pretty promising signs last year.
Well, I agree with that. But I think, I think you got two talented guys, and you don't need to move on from one at this stage, and you consider yourself a contender. So I'm not messing with it because I don't have to mess with it yet. If it's down the road, a little bit further, but yeah, it's too early to talk about trading Nolan Smith, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. John, when's the last time, I was asking you over there before the Chubb thing came out? I'm going to talk a little bit about that to wrap the show. When's the last time they drafted an offensive player in the top 2 rounds? Was it Devontae Smith?
Boy.
I think that year was Landon that year too.
Top 3, day 2 picks, it would be Steen, but
that's right.
Round. And then Cam was the year prior, 2nd round. And then you got to go back to Devontae. Devontae's the last 1st round pick on offense. And Landon was 2nd round. That was a great draft, by the way.
That was a great draft, yep.
Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, and Milton Williams. Plus, later, 4th round was Zach McPherson. Good dude. Never obviously got hurt. Kenny Gainwell was a great pick for a 5th rounder.
I mean, all things considered, 2020 turned out to be a good draft too because you landed your quarterback.
Yeah, well, it's tougher, that.
Tougher,
I
obviously.
mean, yeah, but anytime you get a quarterback, it's
You
not
blew
a
up one quarterback and
like,
you brought in another.
yeah. There was. I mean, Rager was obviously a disaster. Davion Taylor wasn't a good pick.
Yeah.
Kayvon Wallace. You got something out of Jack Driscoll in the 4th round.
I was more thinking that does the quarterback make up for all that?
Actually, Sean Bradley should have mentioned just retired. Had to more than anything, but he was a good 6th round pick, a really good special teams player when he was here. You had Quez in that draft. Then the great Prince Tega Wanahu, who never made it here, but he was with Kansas City for a while. They've had a good run drafting now. And that it didn't get better than 21 with the premium picks. So 1, 2, 3. Days 1 and 2, they got Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, and Milt Williams. I mean, that's doing it right. 2022 is not looking bad either. Now that Jordan Davis broke through, Cam Jurgens, N'Kobe Dean, 1, 2, 3. And then 2023 is Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Tyler Steen, which is nothing to sneeze at. And then 2024 is Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt, which might be the best if you give it a few more years. And last year was Jahad Campbell and Drew McCuba. Didn't have a 3rd round pick. Pretty good.
Yeah. Fair enough. We'll see what ends up happening with that in the NFL draft this year. Going to be interesting to see, John, with all this stuff coming up. Real quick, just a quick note. I mean, I know you mentioned I think we talked about this last week, but I got it written on my board to ask you about. I think we hit it. BG, is BG going to be done? He's not going to get obviously the retirement ceremony again, but he's done, right? He's not going to come back, is he?
I think he wants to. I'm.
Was he really again?
Yeah, if I'm the Eagles, I would not bring him back. I get it. He's a legend. I mean, to what you were saying, it's a young man's game. I mean, at some point, I love the guy.
I'm just surprised that he went on the full retirement ceremony. He comes back for the half a year, which, all right, you can convince the wife and the kids to do it for another. Now you want to run back a full season. It's almost like BJ is like trying to get full back in the swing of things for another year.
Yeah, I a lot of times, that's why I was bringing up Sean Bradley. A lot of times you retire. Most times, it's the game is making you retire more than you're retiring. Most times, there are guys who walk away at the top, like Luke Kuechly, and just go into the Hall of Fame and yada yada. But most times, players leave before they want. And even guys who played as long as Brandon Graham, let's be honest, he didn't want to retire. He loves it, but at some point, I think it's time to rip the Band-Aid off, and I think we've hit that point. I thought we hit it last year, and I probably shouldn't have brought him back. But when they did bring him back, remember, they hadn't traded for Jalen Phillips. So I think if you could have, and Zadarius Smith walked away, if you could have alerted them, hey, you're going to get Jalen Phillips, they wouldn't have talked about a retirement. But so I would not run it back again.
I wouldn't either. We'll see what ends up happening there. I think BG will be done. Brandon Graham, Philly legend, no doubt, Mr. Eagle himself, John, like you call him. But I think that's now officially in the rearview mirror with Brandon Graham. We will see what ends up happening. But there, for those who missed our Friday show, Kevin Patullo did land in Miami. So congrats to Kevin Patullo. He's officially out, John.
Yeah, I know. A lot of parties for that. It's silly, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Part of the gig. Lands. What a good spot. Obviously, defensive-minded coach, so he'll have an imprint on the offense. And like I said, he went to high school there, so he knows the area. He's a big golfer, so that'll lessen the blow too. Plus, probably didn't want to be around here any longer, so worked out for him.
Good stuff. All right, Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on a Monday edition of Birds 365 as we get deeper into this NFL.
We're going to gear up for the combine talk. We're going to talk about Reuben Bain's short arms. I don't know the quarterback with the small hands yet, but we'll know. We'll know, and we'll talk about it all. Hopefully, we'll talk about more substantive stuff as well. But, yeah, personnel season is starting. That's really Howie season.
Yeah,
so
right.
we'll get all the silly season stuff as well with Howie doing this and setting up, and he's going to replicate drafting a quarterback and putting pressure on Jalen Hurts, all that fun stuff. All of it.
Yep, it's all coming. Howie season, list season, all the fun, silly season. It's all coming, Johnny Mac. John, I might be forcing you, John, to do a little bit more silly season this year. What do you say?
Silly season. Well, if it's silly, I'm gonna call it silly.
I'll have Johnny Mac doing the rankings, the power rankings, the QB list,
the power
list, the contract.
I love the pre knowing who the players are going to be power rankings. Those are very relevant.
What's your early thought on the NFC East next year?
My early power rankings, well, it's got to be Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. Although I think the Giants are finally going in the right direction. So
yeah, I have Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. Things
can change quickly in the NFL.
I think Giants make a push, John. I think they do. I think they got some adults in the room.
I agree. I agree with that. And they're going to be not a laughing stock anymore, which is not good for the Eagles.
Yeah, if Neighbors gets back, if they get another weapon there for Jackson Dart, they got to improve their lines, obviously. But their defensive line's good. Their offensive line, they got to improve. We'll see, man. We'll see what ends up happening with it.
They're going to approach it in the right way, which is
right.
A big step forward for where they're going.
And a big difference from how they've done it in the past. So that means they could get good. They could get good. Johnny Mac, good show today, brother. I will talk to you tomorrow on a Tuesday edition of Birds 365. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, Jim Mac. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the show today. I appreciate all you guys being here. I do not have a lot of time for a Zander time today. I have more accountant stuff to deal with, so I got that call coming up. I got to get out of here and get ready for that. It's never fun crunching. But the good news is that normally I'm one of the extension guys. Like I'll file the extension every year to get it going, push it off to October. I'm way ahead now, so that's the good news. All right. But the bad news is you got to deal with it in February. You got to have calls. You got to do this. You got to organize this. You got to get your taxes done. You got to get your finances done. Your statements, your write-offs. It's a whole shebang. So I got to get ready for that. That's coming up soon at like 10:30. So I don't have a whole lot of time, but I will talk to you guys for about 5-10 minutes. See what's going on with the great people of JAKIB Nation. Flex, what up, Flex? Rasputin, what's up, Rasputin? CZ, what's going on, man? Izzy B, welcome into the chat. Izzy B, thanks for being here. Daz Deals, what up, Daz? Intern. Yeah, you guys are ripping me for my internet. What's funny is I got more devices running from this studio than I've ever had. And they're all hardwired, and they're all running perfectly. Like when I say perfect, I mean over a gigabit of internet on all of them. All right. I everything is good. For some reason, my streaming computer, it just doesn't want to connect. It's got the hardwire. It says my upload speed is 1,000. It says it's all good. So need more bandwidth. There's Izzy B. Izzy B, why don't you come over and troubleshoot it then? All right, Mrs. Know-It-All. Holy shit. Fucking know-it-all Izzy. Oh, it's this. I know the problem with your studio. All right, Izzy B. All right. All right. You don't get me chirping. Don't get me chirping. I got to deal with my account. I'll be chirping at them soon. I already got enough chirps to have today. Wild Bear, what's up, Wild Bear? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you in here. All right. It's not a one-lane highway. All right. Good night. Good night. Izzy B might not know her ass from a hole in the wall. BGJ, what up? All the ladies are showing out today. I got Wild Bear, I got Izzy B, and I got BGG. All right. I got all the girls showing out. The JAKIB Nation ladies are showing out. All right, guys. Appreciate all you guys. Going to be an interesting week with the combine coming up. The franchise tag. Well, I don't think they're going to franchise tag anybody, obviously, but I am interested to see who changes some things. Let me see what Rasputin's saying. Let me write that down, Rasputin, because Rasputin's one, he's a smart guy here. All right, I'll look that up. But with the franchise tag win, it's gonna be interesting to see what the NFC East teams do. Like, do the Cowboys tag Pickens? Is that what we think is gonna happen there? I don't know if I see them. Remember, CeeDee Lamb got a bag of cash. I mean, he's making more than AJ. I think he got like 35, didn't he? So they're gonna pay Pickens now 35 too, or 36 too. Pickens had a better year than CeeDee Lamb. So I don't know how the hell they're going to deal with that. They're probably going to end up tagging George Pickens, but we will see what ends up happening with that. I appreciate all you guys being here. Hit the like button. Keys. Camo. Keys. What up, Keys? I heard we tagged Smitty. Is that true? Jeff Bone, what got into your bag of crack this morning? We tagged Smitty. We paid Smitty a massive extension. This was years prior. This is a year ago or 2 years ago. I don't even remember when. Tag Smitty. What are you talking about? We tagged Smitty. Jeff Bowe, we tagged Smitty. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Yeah, Preston, I brought him up a little earlier in the show. I do. I watched him a little bit this year. I don't watch as much Oregon. I watch a lot of SEC and stuff, but he's a good player. He's a good player, man. He is a really good player. So I like it, but I think my hesitation there is like, are they going to use a first round pick on a tight end? I don't know if they would, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. All right, guys. Appreciate all you guys. Sorry, I got to run today. We'll do a little bit of a longer Zander time tomorrow. I appreciate all you guys being here. Hit that like button. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES. Eagles.